my name is Trish. Welcome to the Gig House Kitchen in beautiful North Norfolk. Today I'm going to show you how to make 3-2-1 shortbread using ingredients that you would find in your cupboards at home. Very, very quick recipe, very easy to do, and you can make loads and loads of different things out of it, which we'll talk about later. I've got my ingredients over here. First of all, we've got 75 grams of plain flour with a little pinch of salting. We've got some salted butter, softened, 50 grams of it. You could, if you wish, use unsalted butter. It depends how salty you like your shortbread. And here we have some caster sugar, 25 grams of it. And this is what gives us a 3-2-1. We have 1 portion or 25 grams of caster sugar, 2 portions or 50 grams of softened butter, and 3 portions or 75 grams of plain flour. The first thing we do is we take the unsoftened or the softened butter and put it in the bowl. And then I'm going to get some vanilla extract, which is stronger than essence. So obviously you need less of it, but I like it quite vanilla-y. So I'm going to put in almost a teaspoon, which is about 5 mils. Right, what I'm going to do now is mix it really well. Now, a little cooking tip: if you don't want the bowl to move around, just put it on a tea towel or a wet cloth, and that will just stop it moving about. So it's all being mixed up till it's sort of quite creamy and liquidy. That's why it's important to have softened butter. When it's nice and soft and liquidy, then we can add the other ingredients. So I'm going to add the sugar and mix that for a little while. And then I'm going to add the flour. Now there's no need to sieve the flour because it's a biscuit mix. It's mostly cakes that get sieved. Okay, now I'm going to mix this with a wooden spoon for a while, and then it should come together. You could put this in a food processor if you wish. Now once it's started to come together, I like to just get my hands in, really. So just put your hands in and literally mix it together, and it should form into a dough. And it's starting to come together. Once you're happy that it's come together, pour it out onto the table and just give it a little knead. And what you're doing really is the heat of your hands is actually making it come together. Obviously you don't want to manhandle it too much because it will start to melt into your hands. Right, so there you have a very quick 3-2-1 shortbread. Now, it's a very small amount because basically I just wanted to show you how to do it. But if you keep the proportions of 3-2-1, you can up the amount of ingredients. You never need a recipe book because you know it's always a 3-2-1 mixture. You can do lots of different flavours. One I particularly like is a chocolate 3-2-1 shortbread. So I'm going to show you how to make that now. So I'm going to get the same bowl back because I don't like washing up. So, you know, why do it? So we're going to use this bowl again. Now why I did the vanilla first is obviously because the chocolate would then colour it. So I'm doing the vanilla first and I'm going to do the chocolate and then I will wash the bowl finally. Okay, now I want chocolate shortbread. So a little catering trick. Literally take out a tablespoon of flour and put in a tablespoon of cocoa. How easy is that? Now I've got the ingredients exactly the same. Put the butter in first and give it a good stir. This means it goes together easier. Right, then we put in the sugar. And lastly, the flour and the cocoa. Now, this is a little bit messier, obviously, because it's got a lot of chocolate in it. So again, I'm just giving it a good mix to get it to come together. And then, once I've got it coming together, I'm going to put my hands in. Here we go. And give it a good knead together. Again, squeezing it. Squeeze it. Squeeze it. Squeeze it. And use the heat of your hand to bring it together. Again, the secret is to bring it together and make it stick together, but not to over knead it, because the heat of your hand, particularly if you're a warm-blooded person, obviously it'll get a bit greasy. Now, so there we have the chocolate. Right, you can do so much with this type of shortbread. You can use cutters, roll it out onto a floured surface and use cutters to cut it out. Nice little shapes, and then just bake it in the oven. Or you can do what I actually love doing, which are little checkerboard biscuits, which are fun and easy to do. They're very small and they keep a long time in a sealed container, and really I like to think of them as the English biscotti. They're great with lattes or cappuccinos. So I'm going to show you now how to actually make some checkerboard biscuits with 2 3-2-1 shortbread mixes, 1 vanilla and 1 chocolate. Now you can make some very elaborate checkerboard biscuits with lots of pieces of the checkerboard. I'm just going to make a very simple 4 checkerboard biscuit. So first of all, I get my vanilla shortbread and I cut it in half. I then get my chocolate shortbread and I cut it in half. Again, start with the vanilla because the work surface will colour with the chocolate, and you don't want the chocolate on the vanilla because it will spoil the effect of the checkerboard. Right, I'm going to put a little bit of flour down. This is just some plain flour so it doesn't stick, but not too much. I always say flour your hands rather than flouring the table. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to very carefully roll the checkerboard, the first checkerboard. Okay, and its sizing is always important. I like guides, so I use my trusty palette knife, which I've had for a very long time, to show the size. It's a bit like an archaeological hammer on an archaeology dig. Right, so I put that down there, and I want it literally almost the size of the length of my palette knife. Now you can make them fit thinner and squatter, but I want like a little biscotti effect, so I'm going to make them quite thin. So if you find they're breaking up a little bit, then just squeeze and then roll. Squeeze and then roll. And you can see now that that's roughly the size of my palette knife. Right, we're going to just roll that out of the way. Okay, try to make it, even size. That was a little bit fat, but there you go. Then I'm going to take the other one, put a little bit of flour down again, mostly on my hands. Flour your hands rather than the table. And then I'm going to roll or squeeze another round. Now I don't need to use this anymore because I've got that one as the guide. Okay. So there we go. Try and be accurate as accurate as you can, because you get a better finished result. But have fun as well. So now we just put the checkerboard together. I get a piece of greaseproof, which makes it easier to manhandle it and to shape it. So the first thing I'm going to do is put on the strip, I suppose you would call it. And then I'm going to very carefully put a chocolate strip on. Okay. Push them together. You don't put water between or anything, so it's literally just the fat holding it together. You can press it quite hard and then shape it. As I said, it's such a good tempered shortbread. There you go. Now I'm going to get the other vanilla strip and I'm going to put that on top of the chocolate strip. And then I'm going to get the other chocolate strip and put it on top of the vanilla strip. And I'm going to press this all together and get the shape. So now we want a squarish shape. It doesn't matter if one goes into the other a little bit, that's part of the fun. Here we go. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap it up and probably put it on a tray, and then I would put it in the fridge for 10 or 15 minutes just to let it chill slightly. And while I was doing that, I would grease a tray. You don't have to put baking parchment on top, it's just, well actually this is just greaseproof paper, but I put it on because I just find it's easier to cook with and to wash up with after. Okay, so over I come. Let's see what we've got. Right, this is the fun part. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just reshape it. Alright, so now I'm literally going to cut them up. So there we go. We're going to put them on the tray now. You have to do it by eye really. So, you know, it doesn't matter if some of them are just slightly bigger or slightly smaller, but once you get going, you tend to make them roughly the same size. I'm leaving a little bit of a gap. They shouldn't actually spread because it's plain flour. Again, so easy to cut and use. Oh, that one decided to not be as well behaved as the rest. There we go. And there we have some lovely little checkerboard biscuits. So they're going to go into my Arga, which is my pride and joy, in the baking oven on the bottom, and that's going to go in at about 180 degrees. Very important that you don't over bake them. Baked goods will go bitter. These are just perfect. I can tell they're done because the vanilla shortbread is a lovely golden brown, and if I lift them up I can see the underneath bake too, plus they're staying together. So what I'm going to do now is put them onto my cooling tray. They will take not very long at all to cool down, probably about 10 or 15 minutes, depends how hot your kitchen is. Once they are cool, however, you can store them in a tin or whatever. I like to store them in a biscuit jar, which I picked up, I think, for a few pounds. I think they look quite nice in a biscuit jar as well on the table. And then basically, so there you have it, checkerboard biscuits. I hope you enjoyed watching me make them as much as I enjoyed making them for you. Tune in next week when we'll be making yummy cakes. Anyway, good night from the Gig House Kitchen.